And here we are. We're back for another fantastic Chatcast. Still running high on energy, even though it seems like I'm a little bit tired and cranky. In this one, we want to talk about something that I feel like is actually, honestly, kind of difficult for artists to do sometimes. Are you proud of the skill that you have? Now, I am, but I have to really sit and think about it. One of the things that stifles this in me and probably in a lot of artists, and maybe yourself included, is the analyzing of other artists.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is the thief of joy indeed. And also, you start to take for granted the things that you're good at because you're good at it. And then you don't realize, well, this is actually pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And that's another area that kind of makes me be like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm pretty decent at this. So I am, in short, proud, but I have to think about it, you know, because at this point in time, I've been doing it for quite a while. I've been doing it for probably, you know, longer than you've been alive, and I mean that to the average viewer. You know, it's getting to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing it since, like I said, 12, 13. I've been playing keyboard since I was 10, you know, so I've got, you know, decades in this stuff, which is awesome, but it wears off. Like the wow factor for me wears off, and a lot of times it takes me venturing out into the wild to showcase my skill, to be like, oh yeah, you know, I guess this is pretty cool. I guess this is pretty unique. Like I do have a neat skill here. Weirdly, one of the things that I get proud about is one of the things that I'm really not necessarily that great at, which is the drums. It's come up a lot, but I love them. And like, it makes me feel really proud that it's like, oh yeah, I did that thing on the drums. And then like, I don't even care that there's like a million guys on planet Earth that are better at me. Like, I am foolishly proud of the way that I can play the drums.
Yeah.
I just have a blast at it. And Brad, the guy that plays drums for the band that I'm in, fantastic drummer. One of the best drummers I've ever, probably the best drummer I've ever played with. One of the best drummers I've ever heard, period. And what's neat is he can play guitar about as well as I can play drums. And so we can swap roles, and sometimes he'll play guitar on a song and I'll play drums just for fun. And you know, that, like, I feel proud of myself when I can do that. But ultimately, I do. I feel a lot of pride in my skill, but I have to, at this point in time, really sit and think about where I've come from. Now, had I always felt pride in my skill? Not when I started off. When I started off, it was pretty hard, man. When I say I had to intentionally grind at this thing to make guitar work, I really mean it. Like, of anything that I've had to do in my life, I remember that was the first time where I really had to be like, dang, you stink. You are awful at this. This was humbling. This is not how I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah.
And you're just not naturally good at this. I was not naturally good at it. And I wanted to be really bad because some friends of mine were pretty good at it naturally. But then what happened was, and I don't recommend this necessarily, but I also don't not recommend it, which is that I was like, I'm gonna be better than you. I was determined to be better, to be the best guitar player in the room. And then I think with that kind of like internal competition that I had helped push me to that area. And then I got pretty proud of my talent after a while when I realized that, you know, I had grinded it out and I've taken it better. One of my favorite things that you could tell me is, okay, we got all the other stuff taken care of, all you got to do is work hard at it. Okay, great. I feel like if the YouTube fairy came down and was like, hey, you guys are gonna make it on this platform, the only thing you have to do is put in the hours, I'd be like, cool, that's the easy part, you know? So I love hearing that kind of a thing. And that's what guitar reinforced in me too, was just that, you know, like, hey, I could do that. I just needed to grind harder to get better at this in a subjective manner, ultimately, at the end of the day. But I'd say that period of time that we talked about where I grew the most was when my pride also grew the most. But it grew in a healthy way because I had to remember that my mom really was good at keeping me humble and down to earth. And also it's just because I knew I had to really claw for a lot of my skill, it really kept my pride in check too. Like it just didn't come to me, you know? And so since I had to fight for it, it really kept it humble. But at the same time, yeah, I've been proud of it. So there you go. There's my whole thing. I have been proud of my skill for a while, and I currently am. The reasons have changed. The intensity has changed. And now, in order to generate that feeling, I have to be a little more... I have to think about it. I have to ponder it a little bit. I have to relive history. I have to go back to the origins to really draw that out of me, because it feels so second nature now that it's just like a part of who I am, is to just start ripping it up on the guitar or write something and record something that seems pretty cool. Most people, it's like, yeah, you know, I do this a lot, so it's kind of like, yeah. But yeah, I have to reflect a little bit. Anyways, what are you up to over here? Are you proud of your skill set? Have you always been? Has there been moments of struggle? What's going on over here?
I think the atypical way that I learned how to be an artist affects the way I feel about my art. That is the most complicated way to try and segue into the way I'm thinking about this. So I didn't have peers really around me while I was learning art. Okay. So to me, it was just like, I looked at something, was like, oh, this could be drawn, can I do it? And so I would do it until I would draw it, you know, the same thing over and over and over again until I felt like, yeah, I did it. And to me, that was satisfaction in myself of like, I can do that. But I don't know why, like, this maybe is nitpicky and getting into the semantics of pride, but the idea that I was proud of it, that I was going around bragging to people like, look what I did. It's like, I didn't, like, you know, I had people around me, like my mom, obviously, that when, you know, you're 13 and you're drawing things that are pretty decent, she's like, look what he did, you know, and then you feel like, hey, you know, I guess I did do a good job on that, because they're validating what I thought I did was a good job. And so, yeah, I feel like, yeah, that means I did a good job. But to me, it was just, can I do this? Yes, I did it. And so it was like either you can do it or you can't do it, not like how well can I do it, because there was nobody next to me like, as like, oh, he did it too, but oh, I feel like he did it better than me, but now I'm better than him at it. Like, I didn't have that. So to me, it was like a pass-fail basis on my art for a really long time. I didn't get proud until like I went to college and then started drawing stuff, and then people, like, I actually had peers to compare myself to, literally, like, you would put your drawing up and they put their drawing up, and people would be like, oh my gosh, your drawing is like so good. And you would look at their drawing and be like, wow, your drawing is really good too, and the fact that you think mine's better than yours, like, that feels really good. And so there was a small period of time where I guess pride in what, like, I was able to do swelled up, but it was quickly cut off at the knees, like I said, when I went to my graphic design class and realized I was light years behind everybody in skill. And so then I developed a work ethic in that. But a lot of the times when I look at what I do now that I have social media and stuff like that, I see other people working. And so that's when I can be like, well, I want to do that. And so then I try and do what they do, but now I understand that, like, I don't want to do exactly what they do because I'm not trying to copy another person. I want to put my flavor on it. So there's a different goal in my head than just to be that person. So as far as like pride and comparison and stuff like that, I get into it a little bit, but it's not necessarily a weak spot in me. Whenever I feel like I'm not successful, that's when I'll start, you know, like, I don't know. I don't feel like I can, like, if I told you, like, hey, I don't feel like I'm as good as this person, it's not that I feel like their skill is better than me or mine's less than theirs, vice versa, whatever. It's that I feel like they're setting goals and achieving them, and I'm setting goals and I'm falling short. And so that's such a random and roundabout way to say, like, I do feel successful in the stuff that I've been able to learn and do, and I feel confident in my skills. But as far as like, are you proud of yourself? I don't really I try not to, I think too, as I don't want it to come across like I don't have struggles with like being prideful of myself or overconfident in my skills, but I try and think of things more in a way that doesn't necessarily give me pride, but gives me satisfaction in what I've accomplished, and then helps me still look to the future without thinking I've arrived, you know? Which, maybe that sounds pretentious, but that's...
No, I'm just trying to make sense of it, but...
Yeah.
No, I think I'm following you there. I dig that. I see what you mean. That's pretty cool, man. So, really, it's just like, again, saying like a healthier version of pride.
Yeah, it's just...
That you felt like was maybe pretentious.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I said I feel like I was arguing the semantics of pride versus satisfaction in your own talent. I do feel like I'm satisfied with the talent that I've accrued over years of being in the creative field. But I don't feel like, hey, everybody, look at me, look what I do.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. So ultimately, again, we end up saying the same thing from different perspectives. That's what I really like about this. That's what I really like about how we're learning about this stuff. Like, we've known each other for a long time now. You know, golly, I think the first time I met you, I was 20.
I'll have to tell like some of the stories someday about like meeting you for the first time.
Yeah,
They're pretty funny.
We'll go over that stuff. But I really think the first time I met you was around 20. So we've known each other for over a decade. Yeah. And we're still like learning things through this, and then realizing that we have the same thing to say, but the perspective coming from a different type of art, and then really ultimately coming to the same conclusion. So basically, yes, we're proud of ourselves, but not in like a, hey, you know, way. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little humble. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Of course, we're coming back next Friday. You know how it goes. Later.